phone is randomly cutting me off. It's acting all sorts of funny. Maybe it's the beating that it took, I don't know. So, yeah, apparently in the bag it got new cracks in the screen. Yeah, I think we're getting to the point where we're going to have to take that glass shield thing off because it's probably going to come off in pieces. I mean, at least it's not the actual phone screen, but I'm looking at myself in crack. You know, like in the cracks in the screen and stuff, so yeah. Yeah, anyway, Chris had fun today. That's what I was in the middle of saying whenever it cut me out. Chris had fun today, and I'm kind of irritated with the second part of our trip. Not because of him or anything, but because all it was making a mosaic with cut up stuff, and I was like, oh, I thought they were actually gonna have the kids draw or something, or, you know, actually create something of their own. Like, draw this picture. Use these watercolors, cheap watercolors or something, just, you know, something. But I guess, you know, there are actually some watercolors that aren't that messy. We got some cheap watercolor pens. Yeah. There are ways around things. There are things that you can do that are creative that don't involve cutting up magazines. And I don't actually view that as very creative. So, I mean, unless you're doing something like very specific and then you like, I don't know. It has to be your own vision. Not just what's pretty in someone else's. So like mine that I did up, it's just a bunch of pretty pictures that I found. I got roped into it. I wasn't originally gonna do it. I was just gonna sit there and draw. But left my sketchbooks in there because I didn't want to in the backpack in the locker because I didn't want to carry them. And then I found that was a mistake. So I was drawing on my phone. And yeah. But this is amazing because in a museum where, you know, where they have like these classic beautiful pieces of artwork and a bunch of other beautiful pieces of artwork, the artist that they brought in who was supposed to speak, we left before he was going to, mostly because I was kind of miffed about that. Like, the technique that he was using is actually meant for movement, and it's sort of a experiment. It's a technique to draw movement from memory to sort of create the pose that you want to see without, sometimes without references. It's a technique for doing that. And since I draw without references a lot, yeah. Usually my references are actual references. I'm not really just copying what I see. Like the cactus, all I did was like remind myself like what the pattern sort of is for the prickles. I was like, oh, they're not super close together, you know, and then like I didn't need it anymore. I made my own prickly pear cactus. I mean, I spent most of my life growing up in Arizona. We had one growing up. I know what they look like. But to me, like, that's the extent that you should really use a reference. You shouldn't really do it exactly. Then it's not really a reference anymore. You gotta do something with it. Transform it. Don't just do it like photorealistic. Oh, I redrew this picture of myself. I really should have given that portrait to the person that I drew. I'm thinking about one that I did a while back. Because to me, that's what a portrait should be. Little bits of expression in it, you know, that express what the person is, what they're like, your perception of them. You know, you just sort of add it to it, give like the essence of that person in it. You don't just photorealistically paint them. And then you've got these people who are surrounded by all this photorealistic crap, and then they'll turn around and go, look. And, then they'll have Van Gogh and stuff. Not too dissimilar from my own style. And then they will, I'm not exactly like Van Gogh style, but it's impressionistic.
Don't have to so long because it slipped off the board.
Oh, that's fine. It still looks beautiful. I'm glad you were able to have fun with them. Guess what? You're still going to the barber. Because I'm not messing with this. I'm done. You have messed up your hair beyond my skills.
Look, his teeth. You know his name is? Gus.
Gus. Okay. What are you gonna do with it now? Huh?
But I don't want to.
Well, then don't. Maybe we'll figure out a way to do a two-sided thing one of these days. Go put it on your dress or something.
Or put it back in the 8.
Yep, you can also do that. So, I heard everywhere. I don't know if the second portion was really worth it. I was kind of more insulted by the fact that this guy was supposed to be the artist, on display for this. And he was supposed to, talk to people, and I was just like, I was kind of mad. I was kind of not telling people that I was irritated with it. Then I was kind of irritated because after we got the printout, we went and someone had sat another kid in Chris's chair. I'd left my purse there and my phone, so nobody sat in mine. But apparently they thought that, I don't know. But the guy that they had literally does scribbles. He just scribbles on the paper. Makes it look vaguely like something. Some of them don't even look vaguely like something. And I can't even get noticed. In a freaking museum next to amazing pieces of art, there's this guy's stuff. And if it was just one piece, I would be like, okay, fine. This is an expression, right? It's every single piece. And I guess that's fine if that's what you want to do, but by the standards of art, it just boggles me. Rich people. I have seen a painting that was nothing but a blank background and one line sell for a lot of money, while pieces like mine don't sell. I literally sat at First Fridays while that happened.
Book out here. Can you see this book out here?
Chris, why are you obsessed with that one book? It's the book that he got today at the bookstore in the library. So, Tempe Library has a bookstore in it. Yeah, I didn't want to really get a card and check books out because it's kind of far. It's like, well, what's gonna happen if we can't get up there in time? So, yeah, we live in another city. So it's a 2-hour trip for us. So, no. It would actually be a substantial car ride too, even if we drove, and we don't. I don't have a driver's license. I have an Arizona ID, but not a driver's license. Nobody ever taught me how to drive. It's hundreds of dollars for the classes, and usually they want you to have a car. If you don't have a car, it costs even more. It's just not feasible. Gene has a driver's license, but doesn't drive. He renewed it, before they found out that he had seizures. So he doesn't fall on the ground and have grand mal or anything. It's just that even that little pause in like a minor seizure can cause an accident. So he just doesn't drive. He does it to be responsible. He has his driver's license. They never revoked it. He's just been responsible. He just uses it as ID. Yeah. I mean, I want to learn how to drive and get a car, but then, you know, you kind of run into that same thing. To get a car, you need a driver's license. And most driving classes, you need a car. To take the test at the DMV, guess what you need? A car, unless you're paying like buku money. You either have to have a lot of money to get away with not having a car, or have a car. So I've just kind of been stuck in that. And, you know, every once in a while I'll run into people and they're like, well, we'll teach you how to drive. They never do. Never happens. I actually told Serenity, don't tell me that you're going to do something that you're not going to do. Like, I've heard this a lot. What happened? Nothing. I actually did take the written course in high school, so it's not like I don't know the rules of the road. It's just that my grandmother would not sign the paper for me to take behind the wheel, and her excuse was, it was that she was afraid that I would, you know, never come back. I would just start driving one day and never come back. Well, you know what? For survival's purposes, I kind of had to do that anyway, without driving. Because that woman is destructive as fuck. You didn't hear that?
Yes, I did.
Are you gonna repeat it?
No.
Then you didn't hear it. And by the way, that's a good answer. Don't repeat that. Oh, Jen did a mosaic and brought it home. Pretty cool. I mean, like, there is some art on the walls that's not mine. Like, that one of Lucky, that was actually sent to us by Chewy.com. I would actually do that a little bit differently, but, you know, it fits. It's a picture from, and you can actually see what they took it from, because I'd sent a picture in at one point, you know, to share it with one of the CMs, customer service. I don't know if they actually use the term CM. I've done too much customer service. Yeah. I'd sent the picture in after his surgery, and he still had, so about, what was it, 2-3 years ago now? And, you know, he still had the bald spot, so you can actually see in the pigments that they used. He's still doing well, by the way. That surgery drained all of our savings at the time, and but it saved his life. It saved his life. I mean, yeah, and then we were still after that paying it off for like the next year afterwards. So we had like no wiggle room. But we made it. Lucky survived and we made it. It wasn't like we had like a ton of savings to begin with.
Hello.
Hey.
Did you guys went in the pool?
It was too hot.
Too hot?
Didn't want to mix it up. You know how I get in first before you do and walk around to mix it up? Didn't want to do that. That's what you have to do because the water on top heats up, but the water underneath is cool. So, it's a blow-up pool. It's 3 feet deep. Decent. But this is Arizona. where everything is prickly, so I'm not sure how long it's gonna last. I'm kind of just hoping that it will last. Oh. Yeah. So, I'm kind of mad. The only thing I need to learn from an artist like that is how to get my fucking shit noticed. Look, that's one of, like, my more barren pieces, and, like, that has more going on in it. Why? Do you know what this guy's pieces look like? I swear to you, one of them was literally some version of that. Just on canvas, I guess. I felt like crying whenever I saw that. It was horrible. I mean, good for him, but like, that technique is something that you would use for something like, oh, say I want to, where's the piece of paper that we're not using? Let me take this one out of the printer. You would do something like this. Sort of like